I'd like to thank you for coming tonight. Call the meeting to order. Could you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. A regular meeting of the Freehold Regional High School District Board of Education will be held on Monday, August 27, 2012 at 6 p.m. And the board, upon motion, will convene into a closed executive session until 7 p.m. for goal setting, and will thereafter resume the regular meeting 8 p.m. in Administration Building, 11 Pine Street. Okay, pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, this meeting has been duly advertised in Park Press, issue August 22nd, 2012. All municipal clerks of townships and boroughs within the Regional High School District have been duly notified, and requirements of posting notices have been met. Okay, minutes approval, we have to worry about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Ask for a motion.
Can we have a motion to approve the minutes?
The June 11th executive only is the only one that's being pulled.
Can we have a motion?
Second.
Bill, second. All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Discussion. I'm out of practice. It's summertime. Discussion. Seeing none. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Asatola?
Did you say June 11th, Sean, or July 11th, wasn't it? Or
June 11th.
June 11th.
Okay, so I was here, so I will say yes.
Okay. Mr. Bruno?
Yes for the first two. I have to abstain for 25th and the 16th. I was not here.
Mrs. Lavin?
I don't remember. Yes, except for July 16th. I think.
Okay. Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Sutera?
Yes, except for June 25th.
Ms. Tomazic?
Yes.
Mr. Moses?
Yes. Okay, let's see. Communications are on file in the board secretary's office. Report, superintendent report.
Okay, we've had a very busy summer, and like every single summer that I've ever been a part of as an educator, it went too fast. But the wonderful part of summer is that you really get to do some of your processing work. You really get to get a number of folks in the same room without necessarily interruptions and things of that nature to process some of the district work. So we had a terrific leadership retreat this past year, July 18th and 19th, where we had all the 12-month administrators in the district in the same room working together, and really the theme this year within the school district is the intersection of organizational and personal growth and how one fuels the other. And we talked a lot about our individual passions as educators, what brought us into the field. We committed to what we were going to do great this year, and then we married that to specific strategies in our strategic plan. So anyone who sat out in the audience last year or who's paid attention to the work that's going on in the district knows that we had a fairly extensive strategic planning process throughout the school year last year. That work was completed in June, and now comes the nitty-gritty of really operationalizing it, bringing it to life, making it work. And so there are a number of big-ticket items that we've promised this year within that plan that we think that we are going to deliver on, and those are establishing an advisory panel that really evaluates ongoing district and current and future district initiatives in terms of having a clear criteria for whether or not something is done in the district, and following that up with a process for strategic abandonment if need be. We will be forming a guidance advisory committee. We'll be taking a hard look at how we calculate GPA, how we rank students. We will be forming a magnet program advisory board. One of the things that we haven't done specifically is to really have a body that's dedicated to really digging into the data of our learning centers and career academies and making recommendations for the future. We will be taking a look at potential magnet programs for the future, whether that's International Baccalaureate. Remains to be seen, but it's something we're certainly going to explore this year. So a lot of that work is going to take place throughout the course of 2012, 2013, and we spent most of the leadership retreat really focusing on how we were going to do that. It was a terrific session. We, over the past 2 weeks, have had some extensive training here. I've said sort of ad nauseum over the past year about the new teacher evaluation model that the state of New Jersey is mandating, the implementation of the Common Core national standards, which we are moving forward on, and on the horizon, a new testing system to evaluate students. So we partnered with Common Core Institute, and we have a team in the district, a couple of whom presented in June about our Common Core implementation. But we partnered with a number of our K-8 districts to form a Common Core Black Belt team, and the group that we've worked with for that is the Common Core Institute, and a gentleman by the name of Mr. Kevin Baird, who I think is one of the more intellectually powerful individuals out there in the field of education today, and he was on site with our team for 3 days this past week, and I think that the work that we did in terms of laying the groundwork for the implementation of the Common Core was profound. We spent today, we'll spend tomorrow, and we will spend Wednesday together as an entire administrative team in this room working on implementing the Robert Marzano teacher evaluation model. That's an incredibly complex task that the state has expected that to be up and operational by September 1, 2013. We are going to waste no time at all, and we have 100 teacher leaders that are identified to be trained as well. So the first day of school on September 4th, when the faculty reports back, we will have my opening address, and those 100 teachers will immediately go into a full day of training around the Marzano model. So we're going to utilize every avenue this upcoming school year for professional development around that to make sure that we implement the model properly, that we do it so folks don't get lost. It's high stress. It's a little bit different. If any of you followed the state, there's the tenure reform laws and teacher evaluation. It's a fundamentally different process than what's happened in the past, and we feel very comfortable with where we are with that right now. The opening of school, it's full speed ahead. So our first day for faculty and staff, we have our new teacher orientation on August 30th. We have about 50 new staff members, a lot of that from retirement replacements and such. They'll be here August 30th and 31st for 2 full days of training. On September 4th, as I mentioned, we'll have our opening convocation where all the faculty and staff will be back. That's district-wide. On September 5th, we will have building-based initiatives taking place for our faculty and staff. And on September 6th will be the first day of school for students. And speaking of that, we will have a new bell schedule this year. As a result of negotiations, we have secured 16 additional instructional minutes within the scope of the school day, and the school day is extended by 5. What we did was we transformed homeroom to, rather than we traditionally had a 5-minute period and then there was 5-minute passing, we took that 10 minutes and rolled it into instructional time, and we extended period 1 by 3 minutes. All activities and such that took place in homeroom will still occur with minimal interruption, and we will proceed as we always have. I've gotten some emails from concerned students from student council and things of that nature that they're not going to be able to meet. Couldn't be further from the truth. What I would tell any student that was concerned is to go meet with your building principal, because the building principals are all fully vested in this change and are working out these schedules so that all of our clubs and activities can continue to meet like they always have. 16 instructional minutes doesn't sound like a lot on face value, even adding 2 minutes to a period, but over the scope of a year, that's several additional full periods related to that subject matter. So it does make a huge difference, and we're excited about that. Couple more notes over the past couple weeks. We haven't had a meeting since July 16th, so there's a lot on the agenda tonight. I had the good fortune of attending the Greater Monmouth Chamber of Commerce meeting on last Wednesday, I believe, and talking about, we read the book Switch, How to Make Change When Change is Hard as an administrative team last year. We have a book that we assign each year, and the Chamber adopted that as their book to read this year. So I was able to attend the Chamber meeting and facilitate a book talk on it. And it was terrific to see the commonalities in life of whether it's small business owner, public school, but when you're trying to change something that's happening within your organization, the process that you go through, and I think that the book Switch, I'd recommend it to anyone to read just for general life, but I think it really resonated with the Chamber, so it was a terrific opportunity to spend some time with those folks. Also had the good fortune last week to attend the Freehold Rotary luncheon, where they honored two of our students who they had sponsored in the Rotary Youth Leadership Academy. That took place at Monmouth University this past July, I believe, at the end of June, actually. And that's two of our students were able to participate in a very intensive multi-day leadership development workshop, where they were ultimately out in front of 100 people giving an address and things of that nature, and building teamwork, empathy, collaboration embedded in the couple days. It's a terrific program, and I'd like to thank the Rotary for sponsoring it for a couple of our students. Also, on the agenda this evening, we have an administrative restructure, which I've heard quite a bit about, so I'd like to just talk to that momentarily. I was appointed in February of 2011, and I immediately thereupon began to sit down and interview administrators in the school district, talk about what was working, where they thought we needed help, what needed to be done throughout the district. Started officially in June of 2011, and then spent the greater part of the next year taking a look at how we operate as an organization, where we were effective, where we had some holes, items that had been neglected over years or not given full due in terms of the attention from the administrative end, not through anyone shirking their responsibilities, but simply through what I deemed holes in the structure. And there have been a number of administrative changes made over the past number of years that I think, when they're made a step at a time here and there, what we've arrived to in 2012 was a system that I don't think was capable of keeping the school district running in the same way that it needs to run, given the increasing state requirements, given the new initiatives that are at our doorstep, given the paradigm shifts in teacher evaluation, and the incredible accountability that this district is under. As a large high school regional district, the largest in the state, we are always candidate number one for any sort of state monitoring or state survey or anything along those lines. They love to spend time at Freehold Regional, and I don't blame them, because we represent a terrific cross-section of a high-performing suburban district that's very unique in its setup. So I set about attempting to come up with an administrative structure over a period of months that accomplished what I thought would be the most effective deployment of our human capital and our resources within the school district. And there were two things that I wanted to make sure occurred as I did that. One, I wasn't going to add any administrators to the full-time equivalent. And two, it wasn't going to cost us any more money. And both of those have been achieved with this administrative structure. It gives us a tremendous amount of latitude in terms of areas such as guidance, student assistance counselors, testing, high accountability areas that have not been given their fair thrift in terms of how we manage those as an administrative team, NCLB requirements, federal grant programs, and the such. So what is before the board's consideration this evening is a revised administrative structure. We haven't changed it in a great number of years here at Freehold Regional. that I think will serve this school district. If anybody's ever seen the commercial of the gentleman who's walking down the hallway and his boss says, "Hey, do you have that presentation?" He says, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it. It's all right here." And then as he's walking, the slide opens up, it knocks him in the head, knocks him unconscious, and the guy looks at him like, okay. If anybody's ever seen that commercial, I liken this structure to that. If I fall off the planet tomorrow, if the board turns over tomorrow and we have 9 new members, the structure is solid. It will enable this district to succeed in the modern era, and I think it's an incredibly effective way to deploy our resources. So that's up for the board's consideration as well. And a copy of that administrative structure is on the attachment and will be available on the website following this meeting. Oh, and a couple other items, because folks were asking that as well. Fully vetted, obviously, through our council, and fully approved by the county superintendent of schools, and supported as such.
Okay. Next, we have board reports. I don't think there are any board reports. I do want to commend one of our board members, Bill. I had the pleasure to attend the concussion seminar at Colts Neck High School with Harry Carson, and also a member of is Colts Neck, the girl from Colts Neck?
She lives in Manalapan.
Manalapan female soccer player who got a concussion and unfortunately didn't take it as seriously as she should have. And it was an excellent opportunity for parents and athletes alike to come and hear about the perils of brain injuries, which unfortunately for a long time were taken way too lightly.
One thing to add also on the agenda this evening, we said about that we had a terrific number of policies that had not been updated in several years, and we've really been working as an administrative team to update those policies. A large number of those policies are up for approval for a final read, which I think brings us fully compliant with mandated policies from the past 5 or 6 years or so. I'd also like to publicly thank Ms. Tomazik for her work in helping us edit those and get through those process. If any of you have ever read through policy template, it's there's a lot of things you'd probably rather do, but Marianne caught a significant number of language and I think just made the final product a lot sharper. So, thank you.
Good job. Good job, Marianne. Okay, next up, we have public participation. Before you start. Yes,
Just some amendments to the agenda, most of which are captured on a yellow sheet of paper, which should be available to you in the back of the room. A couple other that I'd just like to point out on page 6, appointments. Remove the appointment of Matthew Hartman, world language teacher at Manalapan High School. Unfortunately declined the position. Page 21, volunteer coach. Under Freehold Township High School, marching band change name to Kilduff Halat. Aaron Kilduff Halat is the name of the person on that page. And on attachment number 2, detention proctors under Freehold High School, please remove the name of Jerry Lynn Acevedo. Also on page 18, the transfers, to also include a transfer of Kim Fox, supervisor from Colts Neck High School to Colts Neck High School / Marlboro High School. And those are the only changes. Okay, what policy number is that?
I'll dig it up. We're just pulling one policy from the final read. We have to look at the language.
4413? Okay, as being removed from consideration.
All right. And I'm sure the lunchrooms of Freehold Borough High School will miss Jerry Lynn. Okay. Next we have public participation. We have Brianna Messina. Is that right? I know I'm going to date myself, Brianna, but you're not related to the Messina that dealt with logins, are you? Okay.
Logins and Messina.
What?
We're next on the list. We'd like to join her.
Oh, a tag team. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Brianna. I'm from Coltec High School. This is Caitlin and Jessica from Marlboro High School. We would like to discuss an issue that has instigated much discussion over the past month from the students. I know it may seem trivial, but we would like to discuss it. The new bell schedule that has extended our school day 60 minutes. We are not questioning the fact that our school day has been extended. We are questioning the distribution of time. As you mentioned earlier, homeroom has been taken away from us, and we will now have an extended first period of class. We are questioning why, because homeroom has provided organization as many handouts are handed out, drills, everything's in alphabetical order.
Yeah, on that same note, just the organization that provides during like drills, when we get our school pictures, it just keeps everything in a very, it just has everything in its place, also for standardized testing. And I've noticed with the new schedule that all the classes are not the same length as they used to be. For example, like the classes used to be 45 minutes each class, but now certain classes are longer by a couple minutes or shorter. And I think that would be unfair because say you have elective classes versus core classes, math, English, etc. And you may have a longer elective than core class, which is more important to you. And then also, certain classes, if it's not the same length, say there's 2 English classes for one teacher per day, one class may have longer to take a test than the other class. So I think that it doesn't really give you an uneven.
Works on all year long feed, and that reviews is broadcasted every few weeks. And we actually have a specific bell schedule for around the years. We're not going to be able to have that anymore because of this new bell schedule, and that's unfair to many of the students who have taken that class over the past few years. They will not be able to participate in that anymore. Also, make an idea of announcements in the morning before or during homeroom. That's usually when you announce upcoming clubs meetings, when you might announce bus change, when you announce new events in the school, and during the period, teachers tend to teach during the announcement. I know from the end of today's schedule during period 11, and now not getting the announcements twice a day would.
And as a personal example, in my homeroom, since freshman year, I've met a bunch of friends who are most athletically, and we've mostly been in the same class and helped set the homework questions or asked about certain upcoming tests and what's going on in the morning. And now that I've looked at online the parent portal, and I see that I don't have homework I get in the first grade in the class now. Now I don't have to see students ask the questions that I know are going to be in my classroom.
Also, it's helping in the morning and studying. I know that now 10 minutes away from homeroom, like students would normally go in early in the morning to ask the teacher questions about homeroom or test questions. They would have extra help, and not all students have the luxury of coming in early at 7:45 in the morning. So if they got in around 8 or about 8:15, then they have less time to ask teacher questions, straighten out their issue with whatever subject they're studying. I love something else in secondary school. Same elementary, you're allowed to leave class 5 minutes early to walk to your locker without the rush up in the hallways. I know this past year I broke my foot and I was forced to wear a cumbersome walking cast up to my knee, and I was able to leave home to go to my locker because it took me so long to walk everywhere. And I was also able to leave 5 minutes early because I used the elevator because I walk down the stairs. But say I have to leave early from here to 3-4, I'm only going to be in class 39 minutes instead of another, say, the 47 minutes of period. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
Very good.
I just wanted to correct one thing. I thought in the beginning you said that the school day was lengthened 16. It's only lengthened 5 minutes, right?
It's the instruction.
The instruction, right? The instruction time is 16, but the length of the day is only 5 minutes longer. Okay.
Sorry, that was
So
It's okay.
Thank you for coming out. First off, I need you guys arguing on my behalf for a few points. The seamless transitions is terrific. I understand fully that you're approaching your senior year and that this is what appears to be probably from your perspective, and if I were an emerging senior, this random decision to suddenly change our bell schedule, and things are running very well because things run very well in the school district. But there's a couple things that I think you have some misperceptions about that I'd like to clarify. So first and foremost, the day is only 5 minutes longer. So it's 16 more instructional minutes, but as Mr. Moses said, it's only 5 minutes more. The periods aren't different. All we did was add a few minutes to each period, and we did that by squeezing the homeroom, which was 5 minutes, because for the audience who doesn't know, what folks did was you came into school, you went to a 5-minute homeroom, bell rang, and then you passed for another 5 minutes. So for 10 minutes, we didn't do anything academically. We did a lot of things club-related and so on. So what we did was we took first period, we extended it by 3 minutes. We made that first 3 minutes the homeroom component. I would counsel you, for what you're concerned with the Cougar News and anything like that first period, go talk to your building principal, because I can assure you that they have it worked out that we're not going to impact any of your co or extracurriculars or anything along those lines whatsoever. Our core classes aren't any different. They're the same amount of minutes. So you're missing the passing. They're all 47 minutes. So whatever course you're in, it doesn't appear that way, so it's confusing because of the passing, but it's 47 minutes, or what our periods are going to be. And the fifth, I believe 50 for homeroom's 3 additional minutes, might be 51. So I wouldn't want my kid to be in an English class that was 5 minutes shorter than somebody else's over the course of a year. My own children certainly, so we wouldn't randomly come up with that either. I think a couple misperceptions. Then you said the ease of homeroom and doing testing and all that. Yeah, it makes it easier if it's alphabetical. I've had the fortune of being a high school principal and being a high school assistant principal and being a superintendent in another district. I've never had 5-minute homerooms and 5-minute passing. I've always had first period and homeroom mixed together. Even as a classroom teacher, that's how I had it. So trust me, it works in a lot of other places and works very well. And the testing component is certainly easier, but it's no different than putting up a spreadsheet of your first period class and lining everybody up with their testing. And as we move forward with the park testing, the grade level stuff testing is going to go away. And so whoever's in your Algebra 1 class, you'll be testing with Algebra 1, you'll be testing with biology. It'll be course specific. So your homeroom ultimately down the road isn't going to have anything to do with your testing because it's done by grade level. So that's a change in anticipation of the new testing system as well. So there's a couple things that I sent a lot of emails to a couple kids students who had emailed me concerns. What's going to happen here? And trying to quell those fears. But in the aggregate, when you're looking at the amount of time that students are going to be able to spend over a 4-year lifespan. So I'm an incoming 9th grader next year. And now, every day for the next 4 years, I have 16 additional minutes of instructional time. That's profound over a 4-year period. I mean, that's dozens and dozens of additional class periods of learning, actually. So I understand that it may be a real adjustment and in some senses an inconvenience initially as you adjust to it. But taken in the whole, we think it'll actually benefit our students down the road. So that was the decision making on it. And when we negotiated, you have contractual concerns, so when we negotiated with our Teachers Association, who were terrific about it, they recognized that we wanted to add time to the instructional day, so that was something that we negotiated within those contractual parameters that we work within as well. So those are a lot of the reasons. And I would, if any of the principals, or if I'm missing anything, if anybody wants to...
I just have one comment. Just we need to clarify the concern with the busing. You're starting your day at the same time.
Correct. The
early and your late schools are still starting at, 7:30 and 8:30?
No,
whatever it is?
No,
the late schools back up 5 minutes.
Correct. The late schools are starting a little bit earlier. They're ending at the same time.
And the early schools are starting at the same time and ending 5 minutes early.
Correct.
Okay.
Later.
Or later. Right.
So the bus drivers
I
have
think
to...
it's a valid concern, and we had extensive conversations with our transportation department to say, what's the impact on your operation, because it's compressed the amount of time in between Tier 1 and Tier 2, the early schools and the late schools. But regarding the minutes per class, because I did the same thing when I looked at it. If you look at the bell schedule, you see 28-14, 28-14, and that's where you're getting 42. And it took me actually a while to figure out that if you look at, because that's to accommodate the lunch periods, right? So the end of the 28, the difference between that and the beginning of the next 14, there's 5 minutes there for those who have lunch to be passing, but for those who are having class, it just moves right through. So it's 47 for all periods except for first, which is 50.
Yeah.
3 additional minutes to handle the homeroom type of business that you had mentioned before.
So count on the CPA to do the numbers for you. Thank you. But better than I could explain. But I just got an email here. Technology is great. So the average incoming 9th grader will have an additional 195 hours of instructional time in their high school career with the new bell schedule. And what Mr. Boyce is also alluding to with the transportation, we actually monitored our buses for a multiple week period to make sure that nobody was going to be, that the bus runs all fit within the scope of the new schedule, and we tallied that and tracked that and made sure that we were absolutely in line with any change with the minutes. So it seems like an arbitrary change because it happened over the summer. It just happened to be when we wrapped up our negotiations, but it was a very thoughtful change with a lot of research behind it before we did that. So, but I would counsel you on the first day of school. Thank you. To talk to your building principal, and they can certainly sit down and go through any of your concerns, because the last thing we want to do is impact any of our co or extracurriculars as well.
If I can, this microphone. First of all, I want to commend each of you for presenting what I feel to be most worthy arguments in a very respectful manner, and this is what public participation is supposed to be all about. A healthy discourse between the members of the public and the board and the superintendent and the administration of the school. You presented extremely worthy arguments and facts, and your comments each, I believe, deserve a specific answer. And one thing, I have a question for you first, and then my second comment would be that I would appreciate, or I would find it to be appropriate, that if you could put together in a written form what you said, so that it could be addressed with a little bit more specific depth, as Mr. Baruna just coached me in saying. That's something that's very important. But I'm interested in finding out which high schools are each of you from. I know you're from Colts Neck, and if you could identify that, and what specifically was the catalyst to bring you here, the main reason of concern for you. Sure. Yes.
For me, when I saw the new bell schedule, I was kind of confused as to why this changed. It's worked so well over the past 4 years. I've been in high school, and I don't think there's a lot of difference. So siblings have been in the FRHSD district. It's worked so well, and I know it's caused controversy for students. I've discussed with a number of my peers over the past since the schedule has been posted. And I just wanted to know why it worked so well, and we just didn't understand why there was a need for
Instructional time.
And where are you from? We'll just go down the line.
I'm from Marlboro.
Right.
What I wanted, I heard so many comments like, oh, this isn't fair, this is terrible, right, home was taken away from us. A lot of people complain about it, but the majority of people aren't going to do anything about it. And sit there and complain about it and let it happen. So I wanted to really come here and try to voice what we all feel.
You certainly exhibited real leadership qualities, and I commend you for that. And to wrap this up, I just want to know where both of you are from.
Yeah, all three.
Marlboro. And my final question is, how did you all get together to galvanize this type of questioning to the board?
We're all friends, and we talk amongst ourselves, and we realized we had the same opinion on the subject, and that we really understood where each other was coming from, so we kind of compiled our ideas and decided to voice our opinion.
Well, good for all of you. I appreciate your comments, speaking personally, and I'm sure the rest of the board members do too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good.
Was that the first two groups? I can't tell. Yes, it was. Okay. Next we have Barry Hochberg.
Hi, Barry.
Hey, Barry.
Tomorrow. Just a comment, I guess, a question on the teaching of New York. I'm not questioning whether or not we need New York. I'm just saying that those come to fruition because I see it does work. I do question, though, about the quote-unquote reason for economy, which put into the agenda. You eliminate 3 positions, 3 to 6. You say it's not going to cost us anything. But then there is some one important piece on the agenda, and that is salary measures for the positions and listed. So without that, we don't really see a true picture of what's being proposed. So that's the only thing that I have a question on. Without that, I wouldn't really see the reason for the economy.
It's good points, Mr. Hochberg. It's not accurate to say I'm creating 6 titles within there that are different, but the net position is 0. So I haven't filled 3 administrative positions. The restructure this past year, the administrative restructure calls for 3 additional positions, so the FTEs are flat. In terms of the salary ranges, we are going to post these positions, conduct interviews for those positions, and any salary range will be public knowledge long before it's approved, but will work within the budget that we established for the administrative ranks this year so that the spending is flat. Am I missing anything on the financial?
Okay. All right, next up we have Dwayne Davison.
Thank you. My name is Dwayne Davison. I'm a senior partner in the law firm in Bureau Davison, Houston, Indiana. I represent East Cola, who is the board for deputy. Obviously, what brought us here this evening is to revise typical rights notice in the accident, so that we know that there was a discussion, there was a discussion of work, and having served public entities for 38 years, I know we look at a rights notice and let's see the evidence of that consequences that result from the discussion. Not being part of that discussion, I did submit argument, if you will, to get a number of documents, including all the evaluations of which we have copies through the 8 years, and I believe you have access to those through the executive session. So I will not prolong it. I realize the 4-minute limitation on speaking, other than to say that Ruth has served this board loyally, and if you look at gave you some of the quotes from the evaluation, with dedication, especially to special needs students. And the thing that you continue to say you founded the hearts and then in your minds to extend her employment to the I stand here and I am so filled with nostalgia because I have played basketball when I was in grammar school. I got my salt vaccine, my saving vaccine, my science exhibits in this. I played basketball, and I graduated from Freehold Regional in '66. My wife in '68, my father in '29, my son in 2005, my daughter in 2007. So I have a history. In 38 years of representing public entities, this is the first opportunity I've had to appear in front of you. Thank you very much. I know you gave deliberation and thought into the information that was submitted. And I would just like to thank you, and especially thank Mr. Pagno for his courtesies, and I think you represent all that is good I serve as well in the number of municipalities I represent in this county. So I part wishing that there might be reconsideration and that the contract might be extended. I realize that that's not something I want to see happen before my eyes this evening. I just ask you for that reconsideration. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Mr. Davison. On a personal note, Mr. Davison, Mr. Munoz, could you please tell him I said hi and tell him I asked about Robbie? He was one of my guy soccer players years and years ago.
He has done so well, and he just had a son. Robbie just had a son a couple months ago. Doing really well.
Thank you.
And Mr. Davison, I would also like to tell you that I am very close with one of your partners, Ed Eastman, and he's a man of the highest and greatest degree of integrity and one of the smartest guys I know. Wonderful person.
Well, I appreciate that very much, and living in Cold Lake, you're probably going to find his house.
I've been in his house many times.
Quite sure.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gloria Close.
Good evening. I just would like to ask questions or maybe more into, the clarification. On page 23, the reorganization and restructuring, I know that Mr. Sampson will be touched on this, but I just want, like I said, to clarify this, the first one. It's not really removing the positions, but maybe rather renaming the positions, the first three ones. And then on the second resolution, you have 6 positions here. So I guess the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction will go under Director of Curriculum Instruction. The personnel will be Director of Personnel here, and then Special Services will be the Director of Special Services. Now we have three positions here, I believe, that will be created. I just want to ask this question because I understand the board will approve this tonight. The Chief Academic Officer, the Director of Guidance and Operations, Director of Planning, Research and Evaluation. Since the board will be approving it tonight, there was no salary stated here, no job responsibilities. And I believe that before you can approve something like this, I don't know whether you have your own discussion, but at least for transparency reasons, I think the public should be also told. Another thing that you said, Mr. Sampson, that this will not affect the number of administration, and also no salary will be involved. But if you just said also that this position, the 3 positions will be posted, so it means we're hiring. So I don't understand why there is no salary, that the salaries will not be affected here, or there's no increase in salary. Another thing here, I'm looking at the organizational chart. Thank you, Mr. Sean. I've been asking you for a long time the updated chart. And in this one, it says the first position I believe that you're looking to hire will be Chief Academic Officer, which is really in line with Mr. Sean's position. So you're talking about a very high position, and there's no salary stated here. That's only my concern here. If the bracket here is you're the first, and then the 2, that Chief Academic Officer in line with the Assistant Business Administrator, which we did not change the name, and that would be something there. And, I wish you maybe, before you take a vote on it, if you can share more information with the public, since I truly believe that there will be an increase in the administration personnel, and also there will be an increase in salary. Thank
you. The positions, when they're filled, will have salaries attached, Ms. Close, which will be in keeping with what our salary line is presently. That's the ranges will be predicated upon making sure that we keep our salaries in line with where we are now. So the positions themselves are not yet filled. That will all be public. That will be posted with the salary and once we go through the process. But we're not there yet. I can tell you that when Mr. Boyce and I sat down and worked out the numbers, we worked it out to be flat. So when it becomes public knowledge and what individuals in those positions are or are not making, the salary will be in line with what we are spending currently.
Since the 3 new positions will not come out from in-house, we are hiring from the outside because you're posting the positions. It means we will increase the number of the administrators because you just said
No.
that there will be no increase.
Sure.
And no increase in number and no increase in salary.
There's no increase in the FTEs of administrators. There's no increase in the full-time equivalents of administrators that will be in this district with this model versus what we have currently. There is 0 increase. So whether those candidates come from within or without or some combination thereof, the number of administrators in this district, in the Freehold Regional High School District, will not increase.
Because my only Thompson is like you said, it's on the agenda for the board to approve tonight. And there's still a lot of, like, questionable there in terms of, you're not, I wish you take more time in discussing this and sharing it with the public because of the job descriptions, the salary. And like I said, what concerned me is the first one, which is ignoring the business school.
I just have one comment. I know it seems like a lot more positions, but correct me if I'm wrong. For instance, the Director of Guidance and Operations, wasn't that an assistant administrative position and one of our personnel had resigned or had to leave and we never filled that position?
I think a couple years ago, there was a variation of somebody who had some of those responsibilities.
That was administrator here.
Yeah, I don't know what that individual's title was, but it was,
Right. But it
she
was
certainly owned some of that job description.
Right, okay.
Okay, thank you.
There are job descriptions for all these
Yeah.
positions.
We have.
Okay.
Were they
They're not-
public?
Okay.
I don't think they were, I went through it,
I'll-
back in
yeah.
the warranty.
Okay. I'll post them. That's fine.
Okay.
More than that.
Okay, next up we have, is it Vincent?
Dominion.
What? Dominion? Vincent Dominion? No?
Did you sign in?
I signed in, but I just realized that.
Oh, okay. Well, then last we have, is it Teague?
Tagi, T.
How do you pronounce the first name? Tage. Okay, Tage. Marlboro High School? Okay.
Hello, my name is Tage Doss. I'm from Marlboro High School, and I am here today to speak on the same issue as spoken before by some of my classmates. I wasn't aware prior to this day that they'd be speaking on the same issue. I did not organize with them, and they made a lot of good points that actually took care of about half my statement, but I do feel there are still points that need to be made.
Sure.
Thank you. The new bell schedule removes homeroom from the day, and we feel that this time is extremely valuable. The new schedule not only obliterates the 5 minutes of homeroom, but the 5 before it and the 5 after, from the 15 minutes sent out. I know there's an extra minute in there somewhere. I'm not quite sure where it came from, but 60. But that time is used to relax and take a breather before the full force of the day sets, and also to see friends that we won't get to see for the rest of the day. It's necessary to keep the general social health of the student body. We hold it very dear. But most importantly, that time is precious to students, for those 15 minutes are possibly the most productive moments of mental activity in the entire school day. That time is, yes, I know, it's a strange statement to make, but I was going to. That time is used to study and to finish memorizing and review before morning classes and exams. After an evening of studying, a lot of information can be lost. And very often, information has to be memorized and completely lost. And at least a very friend experience during tests. I can personally attest to that. That morning review time has proven crucial and game-changing time and time again by students of all schools. Simply ask any student, and you'll be told it can prove extremely useful. The most productive is the 5 minutes spent in homeroom itself, during which many can attest that they work faster and smarter than any other time in the day. In that moment of pressure, students tend to work faster as they feel they need to accomplish as much as possible in a short time. To remove this time to take away vital steps, grades will plummet, morale will plummet. This new schedule is academically detrimental to the student body for 3 years. But lastly, it also somewhat threatens school efficiency. Homeroom's purpose is to hand out flyers and papers and take attendance and listen to morning announcements, which, as we made before, many teachers teach through in the evening, in the afternoon. We won't want to miss the first round of announcements. And we cannot forget what homeroom means to teachers. Teachers also use that time in the 5 minutes after, before the start of first period, to get things in order, be it their papers, test materials, lesson plan, you name it. Teachers value this time just as we do. To integrate homeroom into first period, even with the time extension, makes the job more difficult and hectic. So in summary, the new bell schedule recently proved detrimental in multiple ways. It heavily impedes the academic endeavors of students, it's detrimental to the social health, and it's detrimental to grades, and it puts extra burden on the district faculty. This measure should prove appealed in the district's best interest. perhaps not right away. As I understand, resigning homeroom teachers and alphabetizing students and other tasks would be difficult. I know there's probably a lot of paperwork, bureaucracy to do. But a change back to the old schedule, even during the year, will surely be welcomed with compliance and good behavior by the students. Thank you.
Tej, on a personal note, I want to thank you for your speech. It was well crafted, and you might want to think about communications as a major in college, or maybe politics or social psychology. But I mean, it was well done.
Tej, thank you for taking the time. And as I said earlier, I think that once the initial change of the schedule gets over and the actual operational aspect of the day starts and you're into the school year, that you're gonna find that you're not missing anything that you had previously. And if you are, then come back.
Yeah, sir. Do you feel that many of the students will disagree come September when they experience the new schedule and see for themselves the change that's going to happen?
It's going to be more of the upper
Just one
class.
point of information, if I could, Mr. Sampson. You mentioned in the beginning 15 minutes. That's no longer there. That was under the previous schedule, 5 warning, 5 homeroom, 5 passing on the way to first. Are those the 15 minutes you were referring to?
Yes.
The 5 before are still there. The warning 5 minutes is still there. So it's the homeroom and the passing time is the 10 that's not there anymore. So I just wanted to.
Well, it's actually
point
the
of
7
information.
that's not there because the 3 is there. So
There's
it's
3
7.
extra in first period, right?
Understood.
See, there's a difference between a BA and a communications major. Right there, so
There's also a big difference between a B and an A in terms of grades.
well done, well done, well done. I would have enjoyed you in my class.
That's great.
Thank you so much. Okay, that brings us to... Yes? Sure, Leon. We don't exclude anyone. We don't exclude anyone. Go ahead.
I would just like an additional clarification about this reorganization plan. As I read it on the agenda at home and then looking at it again here, it seems you are eliminating the 3 assistant superintendent positions and creating the additional ones, but redirecting the procedure of what they do as directors. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we just went through a process of watching and listening to you apply and give them raises. Now, this whole plan of reorganizing the district and these positions didn't just come up. You knew that this was happening. If you're restructuring these positions with new salary ranges, why did you give them raises in the first place if you knew that this reorganization plan was coming? That's basically my question.
It's a good question. The final product of this, vetted through legal counsel and wrapped up in a bow to the board, didn't occur till July. So the idea was certainly out there well before then, but the final product of how this structure was initiated did not land formally with the write-up from my end to the board until the July 16th board meeting. So that's where we are.
So the people that are currently in these positions as acting as assistant superintendents, they're not automatically just going into becoming the directors. Are you saying, from what I gather from what you said, it's open to anybody?
I can't comment on personnel Leon, other than to say
No,
that...
but you basically said nothing is locked in. There's going to be interviews and...
For some of these positions, yes, there will be open, those positions are open, but where folks end up being employed is not yet determined, so I can't comment on any individual employees and as far as that process goes.
And the salary range will not necessarily fall into the same positions as the raises that we just given. Correct? Or you can't discuss that?
Well, that's, I don't know if I can even answer that. I mean, that's...
Well, if I can, all good questions. And I think what was already discussed is that these positions will be posted. There'll be a proper review and negotiation and hiring process. The board at that time will be given certain recommendations from the administration. That process has not occurred yet, so there really can be no answer as to what the salaries, compensation packages will be for those positions. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Okay. Helen, did you have a... No, you didn't. Mr. Sage?
It was on the list, but I'm listening to this. In the event, I don't know if this was brought out, in the event that some employees feel they've negatively impacted this reorganization, we have a bulletproof plan in case there's a legal challenge with this.
Well,
You might have an employee before you too that may challenge this plan down the road.
The restructure itself, Mr. Sage, was fully vetted through the attorneys before we even put it together. I mean, that we got the legal opinion before to make sure we were compliant before we even move forward.
Okay. Next up, we have the approval of the routine action items, which go from H1 to L2. And since it is our last summer session of the Board of Education, and I know that we're all so pleased and happy to be here instead of other endeavors, does anyone have a problem in taking the entire agenda in one shot? Seeing none, Mr. Boyce, do we have to have a discussion on that? Or?
No, you don't. You just ask for a motion.
I just have a question on
Yes.
page 7.
On which one? Mary?
H8.
Oh, Jen?
Get the motion and the second, and then...
Can we get okay. Okay, so can we have a motion that we take the agenda in one shot?
Motion.
Bill?
Second.
Jen, second. All those in favor?
No.
Oh, no.
Discussion.
Oh, discussion. Discussion. Sorry, I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. Discussion.
On H8, I have a few questions. I know the plan has been approved by the county superintendent, but how do you see this plan to be more economical and efficient than the present model?
Well, first and foremost, as I was indicating earlier, we have a number of items, and so I'll name a few off the top of my head, whether it's testing and assessment that's landed in HR, whether it is guidance and the network engineer that's landed in special services, whether it's parent disciplinary and expulsion processes that's landed in special services, where we have 2 people in the C&I department currently, and we have 338 curriculum guides that need to be on a 5-year cycle. So the scale, it's more economic in the sense that we're redeploying our human capital. We're redeploying the individuals within the number of FTEs within the district to manage more efficiently the tasks that we're responsible for in the state of New Jersey. So all of those jobs that have been given short thrift over the past number of years because they've been added to existing job structures that don't naturally fit, will now have, I believe, more direct oversight, increased accountability and scrutiny, and will allow us to hold the members of the organization even to a much higher degree of accountability than we currently can. So I think that the structure accomplishes all that. It washes away misplaced responsibilities. It has a clear home for every administrative task that I think will come our way, and that is presently on our doorsteps. So I think that that is the language that speaks to economy and efficiency.
You know, you said that it's not going to cost the district any more money, that you have a pool of money, but you don't see any additional support costs for this program?
No, that's a great point, Mr. that nobody. No, we are not adding any administrative assistant support. We're going to redeploy our existing administrative assistants within this new structure, so that's not a concern. So there won't be any ancillary costs that are not yet manifest.
Why is the plan being implemented now at this time, and why not wait until after the election in November, since it's not in place for the new school year?
My goal is to have it in place by the end of September. So in a perfect world, it would have been in place for July 1. We followed the advice of council in terms of the timeline. That brings us to today. That brings me to hopefully implementing this by the end of September. And I would posit that having the structure in place for 90% of the school year is still better than waiting a whole other year to move forward with it, potentially.
And
Stop sharing the microphone.
how does this new model work in conjunction with the new Common Core curriculum and complement the 21st century learning assessments?
Well, it's a good question. I spoke to the training of the Common Core that was going on earlier this last week here in the school district. So as we ramp up, certainly as it speaks specifically to the Common Core, if you look at the structure, my intention is to give more direct support to the curriculum instruction department. I feel as a superintendent that while facilities, management, discipline, and all of that is important, at the end of the day, it's about teaching and learning, and that's why I'm here. So the plan is to give the curriculum and instruction department more support to make sure that we successfully implement the Common Core. And I'll give you the example of just changing the English language arts curriculum to align to the Common Core was a half-year process in discussing what novels to read, at what point in the curriculum should we be reading those novels, and then overseeing that is a transformative job in and of itself. So this structure actually speaks to deploying more support to the curriculum and instruction department, and also speaks to giving specific support to our many federal programs, of which NCLB alone, that's anywhere between a $500,000 to $700,000 budget on a given year, where we run a ton of our programs, and our federal grants have been just divvied up from individual to individual, and there's no consistent management of those processes, and this speaks to that as well.
Just one more quick question. Are we, as a board, going to have any workshops on the new core curriculum and working with the 21st century assessment?
Yeah, we have the black belt team that gave the Common Core presentation earlier in this year, and as we embark on that this year, you'll see a number of public presentations on where we are in the process, what we're doing, the work that's being done. Certainly with the revised administrative structure, the board will have my synopses, of who is doing what and how that's panning out. But as I think as the board saw last year, I try to bring as many individuals in from the district to really give an overview of the work that's happening in the district publicly. So and related really to teaching and learning more so than anything else.
Pesci, a little more discussion for me, if I could.
I wouldn't expect anything less.
Hey, why not?
Wouldn't expect anything else.
I just want to reassure the public that a lot of thought went into this reorganization process. I, in particular, wanted to ensure that it was properly vetted through legal counsel, that the county superintendent wouldn't get this thing kicked back at us, and it was a safe plan that would ultimately ensure the best education for the students in the system. So a lot of thought went through this, there by no means was any rubber stamp approval by me with this. In fact, I made and had numerous conversations with the superintendent, with the board president, with Sean, with other board members. So this isn't just a fly-by-night plan to accomplish something. It was well thought out, and I'm comfortable. And I did bring up, the fact that in the past, certain decisions were made that got kicked back, and it wasn't the way that things should have gone. I didn't want to see that happen again, so this was carefully looked at, and questions were asked. So it's just like no board member ever asked any questions on it. I've been very diligent in asking questions about this reorganization proposal, and I'm quite comfortable with it.
Okay, thank you, Carl. And I just want to add, not to take Carl's thunder away, that he wasn't the only one who asked questions. Most of the board members did.
As I said that we all did that.
Thank you, Carl.
Okay? Check the tape.
Check the tape.
Okay, so we're going to, go ahead. We're taking it one shot. Any more discussion on the, the agenda? Seeing none. Mr. Boyce, you're up.
Mr. Asatola?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes to all except I'm present but not taking action on the two seekers, although I know they both will do a fine job. I will pass on that.
Mrs. Lavin?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Sutera?
Yes.
Ms. Tomazic?
Yes on all except for I-17.
Mr. Moses?
Yes. Okay. Mr. Sampson?
I'd just like to take a moment. Jerry Acevedo is in the back with Pete Meehan. Jerry started. I'd like to thank the board. We were in a tough spot. He really had trial by fire here. So Freehold High School, had the difficulty with the tornado or supercell, as they called it. And Jerry stepped into a very tough situation as our new seeker there, and has hit the ground running. So welcome aboard, Jerry. Mr. Meehan will be replacing Peter Bruno, who will be retiring, not quite yet, but in February. But we thought it was important to have Mr. Meehan aboard early on in HAL so that he can begin to learn the ropes from Mr. Bruno. So welcome aboard to the two of you, and I wish you the best of luck. And it's excellent when we can promote from within and folks rise through the ranks at Freehold Regional High School District. So all the best.
Yes. I'd just like to add, I don't know Pete as well as I know Jerry. I want to congratulate Pete. Going to be taking on an enormous job at Howe High School. For Jerry, for those of you who don't know, Jerry was an incredible field hockey coach and brought a lot of honor to Freehold Borough High School and coached, I don't remember how many years because I'm getting so old, my mind is going, but I feel bad for the field hockey students at Freehold Borough High School because they've lost an incredible coach, but I'm really happy for the school and for the coaches who know Jerry and they know that she knows what it's like to go through the rigors of coaching and the concerns. So I just wanted to congratulate them both. And also before we end, I want to wish the seniors here who are going to be starting their last year in the district a great year, and not just them, but all the students. I hope you really have a fruitful and successful year here.
Piggybacking on that, though, you talked about new coaches. Coach A was my coach, so I'm just really glad to see her in the seeker position. But you talk Mr. Moses, you talk all the time about seeing students get into positions, but it's certainly something to see a teammate that I've played field hockey for at least 5 years come into the head field hockey coach at Freehold High School. So congratulations to Ms. Letowski.
Yes, Ms. Letowski, one of my old students. Okay, let's see. Yeah, too many old students. Okay, we have old business. Any old business? Any new business? No business is good business. Okay, seeing none, I'd like to take a motion to close the meeting. Motion. Second. And everyone votes yes.